Hi everyone. During your research interviews, there could be a possibility when you have to ask your research participants something called potentially sensitive questions. What is an example of potentially sensitive questions? So, potentially sensitive questions could include questions about the age of the respondents, the ethnicity of the respondents, it could be marital status, it could be, let's say, income, it could also be their social class. For some respondents, it could also be their educational level. Right? So these are questions that are potentially sensitive because sometimes research participants feel uncomfortable answering these questions directly due to any reason. All right, so these are some of the examples of potentially sensitive questions, and today I'm going to teach you guys what are the different ways of asking these sensitive questions, because in research sometimes you need to have an idea of the demography. What is demography? Like who are the research participants, what kind of age groups, ethnicity, marital status, income groups, or social class they belong to. You need to get an idea of the demography, so that's why you need to ask these questions, not because you're interested in their personal life. All right, so what are some of the different ways that you can ask sensitive questions and get some respondents or response from your research participants? All right, so one of the ways you can do so, let's take the example of age. If you want to know the participants age, so you can ask for the year of birth. So instead of asking directly for the age, ask for the year of birth. In your, this could be in the interview or this could be in the questionnaire. All right, or the year they finished school or high school. All right, how old their first child is. Right, there could be different ways of just getting an idea, or when are they due to retire. All right, these are some of the examples. I'm sure you can think of many more, but I'm just showing you the different ways you can ask people to respond to sensitive questions. Now let's take ethnicity. If you want to know about the ethnicity, what kind of ethnicity they belong to, you can ask them to select from a range of options. All right, so you can give them an option or range of options, and they can then select what they are comfortable with or what they relate to, right? Or ask them to write it down for you instead of answering it verbally in the interview. Ask them to write it down for you, or ask them how would they like to describe themselves or describe their ethnicity. All right, so they can also do so. They can make an, or ask them to, or you can make an assessment yourself. All right, by talking to them, by finding out which country they belong to, what's their nationality, or who are their parents, or just by talking to them, and finding out indirectly. Right, let's say you want to know about the people's income, because sometimes some research you need to get an idea of the income groups your research participants belong to. So instead of directly asking their income, you can ask them, let's say, if they can afford to buy something expensive, like buy a new car or a new house. All right, you can also ask them, maybe give them a range of income bands. All right, you can give them a range of income bands. What does that mean? So you can say, on a yearly basis or yearly or annual salary, is it 50,000 to 100,000, less than, this is not the sign for less than, this is sign for greater than. So greater than 100,000, right? Or less than 50,000, something like that. Give them a range and then they can select, right? Or you can ask whether they regard their own income as average, above average or below average. So you can approach the same topic a bit indirectly, and if they do describe something like below average, then you can ask them, what do you consider below average, or what do you consider average, or what do you consider above average, and then you can make an assessment yourself. So instead of asking all your questions directly and verbally, which in some qualitative research you have to do, you could make some use of prompt cards maybe, or particularly for sensitive questions, and ask your respondents to point to the answer. So you can have a like a point cards here with the answer on it, and you can have two answers, answer 1, answer 2, or 3 answers if you want to give them more choice, right? 3 answers, and then the respondent will pick and choose which one they are comfortable with, right? And that way you can get an answer as well. So often in research you do have to ask questions which may not be sensitive to you, but may be sensitive to the respondent, and then but there is always some way to find out the response, and you can get the response. Of course, if they are comfortable, they'll give you the response directly. Otherwise, use these indirect techniques, and that is one of the ways to ask potentially sensitive questions. So I hope this video was good for your learning. It was useful. Let me know what you thought about it, and I will see you soon with my next video. Bye for now.